Good evening, this is 21st Century Conversations. Our conversation this evening is about women maintaining health and well-being as we mature. We have a very capable panel of women physicians who are going to tell us just how to do that.
I think it's very important that you get a sense that whether it's a physician, a nurse practitioner, or a PA, that that person heard you, that that person understood you, and that you understood what that provider said to you. If you don't understand, you have to feel empowered just to say, stop, wait, explain that to me again, I didn't. And I think it sometimes helps to bring somebody with you.
Yes.
Because it doesn't matter how alert you are, how awake you are, especially if something serious is being talked about, you may miss something. And it's always good to have that second person there who can say, well, that may be what you heard, but this is what I heard.
It's also a great idea to write down your questions ahead of time so that when you come to the appointment you can say, I wanted to ask you about this, and leave space in between your questions so you can write your own form of shorthand what the answers were, or if your clinician suggests to you some place to go get more information, you could write down that place to go for more information, whether it's a website or a book or talking to another clinician.
Yeah, writing down is so important because if you're anxious, you tend to forget what they said. You're listening to hear the answer to one or two things, and the doctor might say 3 or 4 other things, and you don't hear it because you're so anxious.
And if it's complicated or if there's a lot of it, have the doctor write it down for you. Or, and I think that's an excellent point.
Yes.
Oh, we do it all the
All the
time.
time.
We do it all the time. I write like a prescription pad, you know, just turn it over and write everything.
And I think it's an excellent point to bring your questions with you. I have patients where if they come in without questions, I'll say, and where are your questions? Where's your list today?
What's wrong today?
Just just to add on to what you ladies are saying, medications. Medications management is one of the biggest hazards that we have out there. There's patients who think, well, otherwise I don't want to tell my doctor that I'm taking such and such medications. And God help you, it might be the number one that may interact with something that I may give you, and you may not know why you're getting sick, and I think I may be such a bad doctor. Oh my goodness. It's medications is important. So at the Hill Health Center, for instance, we use an electronic format. We type all the medications, we write them up, we send the information electronically to a pharmacy, and we print it out and give it to the patients and said, you have to bring this no matter where you are. It could be a specialist, could be an emergency room. They need to know what you're taking so that they can safely treat you and not have any medications, contraindications, and interactions.
Anyone have a burning question? Anyone has a burning question you want to ask? Go ahead.
I do have one question. I wondered if you could comment on what types of supplements and or herbal remedies are really useful and or harmful for osteoporosis or some of the other things we talked about, like menopause type remedies for hot flashes, for example. If you could touch on that, please.
Well, an easy one to start with is calcium, because there are several really excellent calcium supplements that are available, and they are very effective in helping to reduce bone loss. There are 2 main different types that are available: calcium citrate, which you can take any time of the day; calcium carbonate, which you must take with food because it needs an acid environment to be absorbed. So that's one that's relatively easy and very beneficial. We usually recommend between 1,200 or 1,500 milligram per day for mature women. Vitamin D, we talked about, usually 800 to 1,000 international units per day. Vitamin C is known to help decrease inflammation and help with healing and benefit skin. What do you think about glucosamine chondroitin?
I think that the data is not in, and the data may never be in on. So if you're asking me to back up something with,
Can it hurt you if you take 1,000 milligrams a day?
I think that most people it will not hurt. The very few side effects, and what I tell my patients is try it for 3 months.
Okay.
If you feel better, continue it because it's very unlikely to be harmful. If you notice no difference, stop taking it and spend the money on your grandchildren.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's good advice.
During visits with your, be it a specialist, your primary care provider, or even in the emergency room, make sure that the provider hears what you're saying and understands and takes a little time to listen, and that you get your questions answered.
Caffeine will worsen your hot flashes.
Oh gosh, I'm going to have to stop.
It interferes with your sleep. Can you tell we've had this conversation?
Yes.
Remember, in shape. Move, think about what you're eating, keep your foods interesting, write down your questions when you go in, leave space for you to write answers in between. It's a great idea to take a friend, especially if it's a serious conversation, because 2 sets of ears are always better than 1. Don't be shy to ask questions. Find resources. I've written a couple of books, which you can find on Nzinga's website. Other people have written phenomenal information that's very helpful for patients. Be inquisitive. Be your own leader in your own healthcare.